How easy was it to access the menus in the headset, and how easy was it to change games?
You get to the menu by pushing a button on the controller.
And you point it at different games you want to play.
It's like the Steam Big Picture mode. Like, it just kind of overlays that over the game.
Yeah, it's very straightforward. As soon as you click the button, there's a big menu. At the bottom of the menu, there's exit game. Well, you don't even have to do that. But if you click back in the menu, you're back to your options page. You can go to your library. You can go to your settings. You can go to the store. You can
Buy games without leaving the game.
Kind of like a Wii Marketplace, but inside your face.
Yeah. And Steam connected.
And you're actually going to have it because nobody really...
Yeah. You navigate with like a laser pointer. The controller turns into a laser pointer. You aim at the menu options, and it takes the place of the mouse. So, yeah, you can stand up in the middle of your living room, decide, I want to play something else, and buy a different game.
Only problem I ran into with that is if you click something that isn't supported in the VR thing, you're going to go blind until you take the headset off and unclick it on the desktop. Then put the headset back on. That's the only thing I ran into.
Some things transition well, but if you're transitioning to a game that requires a keyboard, well, now you've got like the image in the headset, and you kind of have to stumble back towards the keyboard, which...
There will be stubbed toes.
There will be stubbed toes. You might even trip over the cable, fall on the keyboard, and then... So if the headset goes black, you take it off. You walk over to your computer, you sit down, but it's easy enough to change games.
Yeah.
As long as that doesn't
Very
happen.
simple.
Yeah. The menus, like I said, it's Steam Big Picture. So if you can point a laser pointer at your TV, you can probably handle this.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean...
As long as it's a blue laser pointer. Oh, yeah, that is actually an issue because it doesn't really rescale. So some of the smaller options you might go, I clicked above it.
I'm going to click the X on this window. Nope, it's full screen now. I'm going to click the X again. Nope, it's minimized. It's closed enough.
And
try again.
You take the headset off and you do it with the mouse. Because for all of the work they did to try and make it work with the laser pointer,
yeah,
it's still very much a mouse interface.
So if you're navigating small menus, I would recommend using your mouse.
The text is not... Like, it doesn't really blow it up enough. Well, for reading the fine details. Like, you can see the titles of the game because those are big.
Definitely.
But if you've memorized where things are...
The other issue is if you do decide, well, I don't like the way it feels with glasses on my face, I'm going to do it without, you're still stuck with your regular crappy eyes that you have in the real world in a virtual world now. So you can virtually have bad eyes. So any text that you can't see in person, regardless of, the screen is closer, I am near or farsighted, it doesn't really scale with your vision. You're going to need your glasses if you wear glasses. Bottom line. The text is a bitch to see without them. Trust me, I know.
And even with normal vision, you're going to end up doing this a lot.
Maybe? What's that there you say on the Steam Workshop? I could click on that. Even though you can't get to the Steam Workshop on it. That I've noticed. Don't call me an idiot for being wrong. Probably am.
Oh, it would probably launch and then you'd be unable to do anything.
It would go to the black screen and you'd be like, oh, fuck, I'm blind.
Yeah. And then they're probably going to patch it in by the time we publish this.
Steam Virtual Reality Workshop.
There's some guy watching. As soon as the video goes up, he's like, oh, they noticed. Send out a patch.
It's going to be fantastic contraption, except we'll talk about that later. It's going to be fantastic contraption. Yeah, I interrupted you. Except it's going to be, this is my sword in Skyrim. Click. You make different things. That actually a good idea. Editors and developers take note. If I could mod my game by getting Play-Doh in the virtual world and making models, it's a good idea.
Oh, Autodesk or someone might... I mean, I don't know if they do that now, but that would actually probably translate well to their professional products.
Off topic, but there is that Dream game coming out.
Dream? game?
You mentioned something we
Dreams.
both haven't looked into yet.
Oh, like the PlayStation VR game?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
it's
that's-
like that. You can grab things and
Yeah,
drag them, and it
manipulate.
creates the paths, and it changes the
Okay.
colors, and you can, yeah. So it's like tilt brush plus animation plus 3D world.
What was that game everybody was so excited about at E3 the other year where you make your own game out of it and it's a big thing that...
Spark.
Project Spark.
Yeah, it didn't really go anywhere, but
No, it didn't. I have it. I played it like twice.
It was
and
like,
that's
man,
like
this
5
thing would be
minutes.
cool.
It would be
VR, like
amazing.
relaunch it, but
I would love to play this game. Now that I've made the... I'm being told to sit up an awful lot. I'm not in school anymore. So, in summary, the menus work. You
Yeah.
click stuff, things happen. It's easy enough to change games without having to go, oh, I'll take the headset off, oh, I'll put it back on now. You're golden.
anything you can do with Steam Big Picture, you can do with the headset with slightly more effort and worse vision.
Yes.
That's an endorsement.
How did you feel about the weight and comfort of the headset?
Not well distributed.
No, not really. It's kind of forward and backward at the same time. The cable adds to a little bit of the backward pull. If you walk too far away, you'll feel the cable kind of tug, which isn't the worst thing in the world because you just go, oh, I'm being tugged on, and you readjust yourself.
But it means that sometimes it weighs a certain amount and then you move and all of a sudden it weighs a slightly different amount in a different direction, which really takes a lot out of the look, I can walk around in it. Because it means that the world looks unlimited from inside, but you take 2 or 3 slightly too big steps and then you are reminded, actually no, I'm in my living room.
Yeah.
Or somebody else's living room. Depends on where you plugged it in. But the headset itself is actually like forward tilting, like no amount of straps, no amount of tightening the straps can fix the weight distribution problem. Like the front of it is heavy and it's here.
Yeah. It leans.
It leans, and I think it slowly works its way up a little bit as well. It's like if you had a baseball hat, but the brim was made out of lead and the straps in the back were broken.
Your snap back isn't tight enough, so it rocks forward.
Yes, more like that, less like mine. I'm not sure how much we can actually complain about the weight because I'm not sure they could have made it lighter without compromising on what it did. It would have been nice if it were lighter, or if maybe if it had a chin strap. No, that wouldn't have worked at all.
Be really weird. If just the strap in the back went down further, because the strap goes across the top of your head, the crown of your head. If it were to go down a little bit after the bump in the back of your skull that like 98.9% of people who haven't flattened their skulls out by bashing it into the ground still have, it wouldn't have tugged anywhere, because on the back of my head, I've got a little tiny metal plate, and it's hard. It holds stuff there. Like, you can feel it. It is not going to do anything. Like, right there. Here, just grab my hand.
Oh,
Feel that? Yeah, it's there. It holds. It'll hold magnets. Not really.
I don't have a cyborg head, but I do have like the same normal shape, and I agree, like if it had a bicycle helmet style thing where the straps went on either side of your ear and it was like behind that, maybe. But at that point, like you're putting on like a medical device to play a video game, and you have to have a midpoint between easy to take on and time to put on my gaming gear.
Still better than Google Cardboard strapped your hand.
Oh yeah, comfort wise, it doesn't have, it's like it's foam, which the foam counteracts some of the weight because it squishes. But
Yeah. The foam is also like absorbent.
yes, it is. We will return to the absorbance. Oh wait, are we on the comfort section?
Yes. So like what we were talking about, the comfort of it. It's super comfortable for times, for a certain amount of time, depending on how far and fast you move your head, dependent on how hot it is in the room you're in. Because the first thing that I noticed was I'm a fat guy and I sweat quite a bit, and I'm moving a lot. Plus, it's like 77 degrees the day we were using it, and
Early spring.
very sunny, yes. The foam around the face, the gasket on your face, does absorb quite a bit of sweat, as one of our testers is a sweatier person than either of us. And we weren't sure we wanted to continue wearing it after, but that's okay. We let it dry out for like 30 seconds. It seems to dry out pretty quick. And then it was great. Very comfortable. Exceptionally comfortable if you use in limited times. Don't use it for like 4 hours, because then you're going to take it off and it's going to be like going diving and then jumping up to the surface.
Oh, and the
Your
foam's
eyes, yeah.
The foam's gonna stay like wet sponged after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so don't share it with people that you don't like, at least a little bit.
I don't like you. You can't touch my rift.
Uh-oh. We're gonna have to dub over that. Vive. Or we'll cut that section out. We'll use it on the Rift video. We're saving time. Multitasking.
This question specifically for Skargan, was it accommodating for glasses?
Yes and no. Yes, in the fact that it will fit over your glasses. It will fit very fine. My glasses aren't very wide. Camera lady, producer lady's glasses have the 50s point at the top, and it goes over hers just fine. But I will tell you, along the bottoms where my cheeks are forced to rub my glasses because it goes, when I have the set on my head, there will be blurs underneath when you are done wearing it. So every time I use it, I have to take my glasses off and clean them, or else there's like face goop on the bottom of my glasses from the heat of the gasket. Glasses wise, in any other sense, it's great. I mean, I have the hiccups now, but that's fine. I will ignore them. No issues, except for the face.
Okay, so you didn't like notice any pressure here from where it stretches against your face?
Not at all. Like, actually, because the foam is such a soft cell foam, I really didn't notice a lot of pressure added anywhere. It felt like I was adding just a comfortable thing to my face that absorbed a lot of fluid.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, if you have large, extreme fashion glasses, you might want to put on ones like that. Normal people glasses, not like enormous cat-eared, oversized things. Like, it's not going to fit any glasses. It's just going to fit day-to-day glasses.
He called me normal.
He's got normal glasses.
How do you guys feel about the Steam platform?
Don't look at me.
It's good. Steam, good. I mean, there's no concern about developers not supporting Steam because, I mean, Steam has, like 4,000 games on it. Developers, like everybody makes a Steam version of their games.
70% of the PC market.
Something like that. Probably
I
even
pulled
more.
that number out of my butthole.
It's still a pretty reliable seeming number, so.
I like Steam. I've never had a problem with Steam except for when I first started like really getting into PC gaming, and I'm like, what the hell? I have to buy this game off the shelf, put the disc into my computer, and then I have it? No. You put the disc in, and the disc is yeah, sure, you own this game, and then it downloads the game. So if you don't have an internet connection, you're kind of in trouble sometimes. I hated that at first. Now that I've got a good internet connection, I've got reliable internet, I don't really care. So as long as you're set up in the way that they recommend that you get set up with internet, you're fine. I have never really had a problem with Steam. The fact that it works so well with the Vive, including the menus and all that, I really like it. It's very streamlined when you have the headset on. I like the way Steam is incorporated.
And we're not worried about Steam going out of business.
Not really.
Like, even if the Vive, like, tanks and nobody buys it, Steam's still going to be there. So you should still be able to play all the games that were released on it. Like, you're not going to need to worry about them all evaporating because...
Suddenly
they
dropping
didn't sell
all
well.
support for everything. It's like, oh, we don't want to spend money on that. No, they'll take some pocket change out and they'll keep the Vive alive.
And as long as the Vive is integrated into Steam, there's always going to be some developers, even if it's just indie developers, who go, you know what, a VR mode would be cool.
And a lot of indie developers would probably do some very cool things with it.
So feel free to discuss the games that you guys tried out in VR.
We tried all 3 games.
Mm-hmm. I really, really enjoyed a certain part of the lab, which is a kind of like a Namco museum style thing where you're in a lab in a warehouse kind of thing, and there's multiple games and demo things you can try out. There's that many, I guess. My favorite is the longbow. You know, bow and arrow shooting. That's super cool, right? I like that. That is like the top thing for me. Like when the future left me the other night, left me alone with their Vive. That's like all I did. I played that constant.
Shooting people with arrows.
Yeah, shooting them with arrows because it's very good with motion and everything. You're aiming the bow. You take the arrow down and leave the bow where it's at. The arrow changes direction. It's very, very reliable with the amount of around you do with the butt of the arrow.
And if anyone gets too close to your tower, you can just lean over it, which is...
I looked right over it. Just...
And that's not something that like normal games would let you do. Like right away, you can just intuitively, where are they?
Normal games, you kind of walk up to the wall and you're like...
And you have to aim. Yeah.
You're too low for me to shoot at.
But this one, no, you just kind of crane your head out however far you can without falling over.
If you've got a big enough area to stand in, I'm sure that you could like lean over the wall and like look upside down at everything and shoot things upside down like Spider-Man.
The headset does actually track completely upside down, so if you want to like balance, handstand, play the game.
That was very cool to notice in the drawing game. What was it called?
Tilt Brush.
Tilt Brush. I have a bad memory for game names and people names. I don't even know who he is. But Tilt Brush, like drawing in Tilt Brush, you draw your 3D picture and everything. You turn your head upside down, it flips it. It's so cool. You get a better view for what you're making because it's not like drawing on flat paper at all anymore.
Yeah, can you make a line come towards you? Make a line go around behind you.
The funnest part is thinking that you're painting straight up and straight down, but you're actually painting like this because your arm naturally moves like that, and suddenly your flat image turned into a bowl, and you're kind of disappointed by it, but it ends up having a cool 3D look to it.
Because it did exactly what you were doing. So even though it turned out wrong, it's still accurate.
Yeah,
and that makes up for it.
It's
not
your mistake, not the tracking's mistake.
Yeah.
You're bad at it, not it. You need to understand that.
Because Tilt Brush was actually probably the best demonstration of being able to walk around, because you can draw something and walk around to the other side and add on to it.
The major issue that I will point out with Tilt Brush is it shows off any shakiness that you have, especially with fine detail drawing. And you need to make it a certain size before some of the brushes will even show up as a stroke. So the thing that you wanted, like an eyeball for something that's small, like a character, is going to end up being a googly eye because, whoops, it didn't track it until I did this. So,
or it's going to end up being like a square.
Yeah,
some shapes don't translate very well to it, but it's still cool. Like even if you have zero drawing ability, just kind of in space and just run around through it.
Yeah, fantastic contraption. It is a wonderful idea. I loved what it was based off of back in the day, but it doesn't seem to be the kind of game for me. A lot of that is because I do a lot of building things and just like functionally building things. So it didn't really fit into my category of, sure, I want to do what I used to do for a job in a game. That seems great. Speaking of that, we'll get on another job simulator after he talks about Fantastic Contraption.
Fantastic Contraption is cool. I mean, tracking-wise, it shows off how easy it can be to manipulate things like in 3D space. Like even if you don't like the goal, which is to get a little ball to a pink square, like that's all it is. You build machines to transport things. The ability to build things in 3D space, to go, oh, I need this support to be longer, and just grab it. Like it's a lot easier than any like professional modeling program would be. Not that it has anything in common with 3D modeling program. So even if you don't like the game structure, it's still impressive how well the construction tools work. But Job Simulator.
Job Simulator is great. I was an automotive technician for a little while. Yeah, isn't that great? I can say I did it for a little while. A couple years experience, but they have a mechanic job simulator in this game. It is hilarious. It's fun to see because it takes the bad from the real world, like, you know, the cheap fixes and the bad mechanics, and it turns it into what the game is. You are the bad mechanic. You are a chop shop. You are a my muffler smoking. Oh, here's a banana kind of muffler shop. It's very fun. I'll let you talk about the office one.
Yeah, there's an office job, there's a gourmet chef job, and there's...
And then a store clerk where you're like a
store clerk
7-Eleven guy.
Out of all of them, the office worker is actually probably the closest to the game that you would want to show off to people because your office is like littered with things to do. There's little CDs, so you can play Flappy Bird, you can play Minesweeper just by putting them in the computer. There's a stapler, you can shoot staples at people. Robots, not people. You can pour coffee creamer on everything and you won't get fired. You can eat donuts.
You can unplug your computer.
You can copy things, like you put things on the copier.
The first thing I copied, there was some money in the game. And I was like, oh, let's try to do this. So I put it in the copy machine. I hit copy and it printed out. And it said on it, in the game, it said $1 fake. So it knows I'm trying to money make, but I tried.
All of the other games are, I think, a little bit more limited. Like, it's a lot more you have to do what it tells you to do at each stage, but the office worker, you can just kind of ignore, just see how various pieces interact. A lot of the other jobs just kind of...
Feels like side missions, one after the other, whereas like the office one, boss bot comes by and tells you to do a task.
You don't have to.
You reach up and take the glasses off his face, throw them at him, grab a donut off the break tray and throw it at him. He gets an angry face at you. You throw things around the office and other people in the office yell at you. Just like a real office would be.
Yeah. Most people, you shoot them with staplers, they yell at you.
They yell at you there.
So out of all of the games that were included with it, none of them seemed... I don't want to say that they weren't worth the money, but Job Simulator, you could probably see everything in that game in, 2 hours? And Fantastic Contraption, yes, you could spend an afternoon playing it, but puzzle games of that nature don't really lend themselves well to wanting to sit there and play it all day.
Yeah, especially since it's so physical. You gotta duck down to reach things, move around. Even if you're in shape, it can get tiring and annoying, but I'm not in shape.
Remember, your face is getting sweaty.
Yeah, you're getting hot, you're moving around, you're getting frustrated because your thing's not working time after time after time again.
Like, I'm not sure exactly how many levels there are, but I think we probably went through the first 10, 15 levels in, I don't know, half an hour.
Yeah.
And so even if there's 50 levels, that's still like 3 or 4 hours worth of game.
And I'm assuming past the levels that we did, it gets harder.
Significantly more complicated, which, yeah, so not that you should be judging games based on how long it takes to play them, because like Tilt Rush, for instance, there's not any game to speak of, but Tilt Rush is still the kind of thing that you could come back to in a way that you probably wouldn't with Job Simulator. Because you can see most of the game in Job Simulator in those 2 hours. Tilt Rush, because it's more of a tool and less of a game.
Yeah.
You draw, you draw, you draw. Which brings us to the lab. The lab isn't one of the included games, it's just a free collection of demos on Steam. And it's actually probably the best showcase of what the Vive is capable of. Like, far better than any of the games that come with it, except for Tilt Rush.
If you get some jiggle on the camera, my cat has went from being in my lap to being very loving towards the tripod.
The tripod looks like a leg.
So I'm gonna rub it.
The lab.
The lab includes the long bow demo that I spoke of. It also includes a classic arcade style game where you are the ship. Your right hand or left hand, if you're left-handed like him, it kind of does exactly what he was just doing. You are the ship. You move it around in an open world environment. If you ever played Star Fox 64, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say it goes from being linear to being a open map where you can actually turn around and do everything.
It's free range mode activate.
Yes, exactly. It is the open map free range mode.
All
with
range.
your hand. All range.
All
yes.
range mode. That's
do
what
a barrel roll, and it will work if you do a barrel roll, but you're gonna break your wrist.
And that's actually there's a game called Slingshot. It's like Angry Birds except disgruntled office worker. Yeah, so there's like a giant slingshot and you pull it back and you let it go and it shoots.
Personality cores.
Personality cores, the defective personality cores in particular.
They think they're getting an upgrade and it's really sad.
So just don't focus on that too much. Focus on the explosive barrels at
that
the
you're
end.
shooting them at.
Yeah. So, because if you look out past it, like this just enormous warehouse, and you can see just boxes and towers everywhere, and you just lay waste to the workplace.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty much all of the games that are with it.
Yeah, the rest of them are more like experiences, I would say. There is the robot game where the freaked out broken robot comes in, and you have to kind of listen and do what it tells you to do, but none of us, when we tried it, were that interested in it. It just kind of, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Oh, you failed. Ha ha ha.
You stand in place while things happen.
Pretty much. That's about it. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. It just wasn't the game for me because I didn't do it well. Not that I don't just like hate games that I can't do well.
But that was like your initial experience
my
with
initial
it was...
experience was being like stepping off the bus in the military. I'm all of a sudden being screamed at by someone I'm scared of.
And of course you're scared of them because like they're right here. They're in your face. Extremely literally.
Or Lee Ermey, but a robot in your face.
The other things that were in the lab are like demos. Like,
there's an exploration one where you can go to different areas. There's a mountaintop in Washington.
That's the coolest one.
Yeah, it's very cool because we may or may not be from that area. And it's really cool. And I like it. I don't have any problems with it. I will tell you, if you go to the edge of the mountainside and look down a cliff, it will terrify you. And you will hesitate to step forward. No matter how many times you tell yourself, I'm in my living room. Your feet don't care. They will not listen until you make them. And then you feel super awkward, and then you back up. And then the feeling comes back. It's really trippy.
Because the tour game, like I'm not sure what to call it, it's photorealistic in a way that none of the other demos are, because that one is like real world places, like picture quality, except you can lean and walk around in it. And that contributes a lot to feeling like you're going to fall off of things, because that's exactly what a mountaintop would look like if you go there in real life, because it is a real mountaintop. There's a solar system simulator too. You walk around the solar system. But that's not quite as scary because most people have experience standing on top of like tall things. They don't have experience being like a sun-sized giant walking around grabbing planets going, and then casting it aside.
You can really fuck with the alignment of the planets in that game, and it's kind of funny. And what I like about it is it kind of helps learn. I mean, you know, there's an ignorance of not wanting to learn nowadays, and that kind of game really helps out. It's super cool. I really like that they added it. You can compare the size of each planet, and you can see that some planets that you didn't think have rings, they have rings. I learned that by playing that game. And the final thing that I can remember is like a basic bone structure anatomy game where you can take like a plane that cuts down, and as you cut down on the skeleton, you can see different things in the body. You may or may not be able to see a bunch of poop in the game because your intestines are full of poop. So that's one of the things.
The
that
intestines
I really
are clean. It was clean before they scanned this intern into the game.
They weren't cleaned very well. There was poop. There was literally poop inside of this skeleton's body. But it was kind of neat. It didn't give you any names of body parts when you scrolled over them or anything. But it was a really good way to show off the what would you say, the 3D quality of, look, this thing,
Yeah.
you can manipulate the
Feel
image.
free to approach this thing and stick
Yes.
your face inside of it. Not that you're going to want to. Yeah, but that's I think a big problem with the games that were included, because Tilt Brush, Fantastic Contraption, and Job Simulator, they're all cool, but they're all cartoony in a way that the lab isn't, because the lab has like the portal aesthetic for the hub areas, and it's got a photorealistic area and a fantasy looking area and a arcade game looking area. Like, it has several different graphic styles, several different kinds of games, and like that's not even something that they thought should have been included with it. The lab is probably the best way to show off all of the things that the Vive can do, not the games that come with it. Like, between Tilt Brush and the lab, like, that should have been their demo, not Job Simulator.
Not that we don't think that they should have given out more for free.
Yes, we like our free stuff. By all means, continue to give us free stuff, but if your
Yeah.
only goal is to demonstrate the headset,
Especially if your company name is like Nvidia or Intel. If you guys want to give me free stuff, I'll get like at least one person to buy one of your things. But off topic.
you can give me free stuff too. Like, you give